This video is brought to you by Kempower, the reliable, quick, and scalable EV charging solution for everyone and everywhere. And this video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me on the floor at CES 2024, where we are going into battery electric applications for construction and mining. I mean, this thing is absolutely huge, and CAT is really, I would say, leading the way in terms of electrification with construction and mining equipment. Not only are we going to showcase what they're up to and everything on display, but the guy that I'm going to introduce you to, John Thomas, is an out-of-spec viewer who works for CAT and is responsible for a large portion of this, who also is an EV driver, totally gets the lingo. You guys are going to love him. So we have an enthusiast, someone in the know that's going to be presenting all of the CAT electrification options, from solar generation to storage to DC fast charging, and of course the construction equipment, all in this video. So join me as we explore what happens from as I almost knock someone out, with construction and mining equipment in the world of electrification. Let's get into it. Guys, you join me with John Thomas. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, good to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you're an EV guy. You drive a Lightning
long
now.
time listener, first time caller.
Great. Well, thanks for watching, and appreciate you joining us for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So CAT is going electric. You're also, of course, sticking with combustion.
Of course, that's true.
What does that strategy look like?
Yeah, so we aren't, you won't see us make any announcements that say that we're going for a certain percentage of our product line that's going to be electric by a certain time. We kind of feel like the technology isn't really in a place yet that for every application that we serve with our machines for our customers, that we can go electric.
Totally.
So we take a really hard look at what is the customer pull, what's the regulatory pull. We have 1.4 million connected assets across the globe. So we have telematics devices on our machines. We look at that data, primarily diesel data, and say of those models, what does the typical operation profile look like, and is that a candidate for electrification? So a real primary driver for us in construction is the European Union. They are already seeing governmental contracts in the construction space that are requiring a certain percentage of fleets to be zero emissions before they can even win the job. So it varies based on industries. You know, we also have port electrification in our marine division. We have diesel electric and battery electric locomotives. And then, of course, the big, beautiful star of the show, the R1700 underground mining machine. Some of that being driven by, a lot of that being driven by customer pull.
Right, and a lot of the mining stuff must just be from airflow requirements and managing getting all that out of the mine.
Yeah, so we can talk more about that later, but there's actually some temperature requirements and some operator benefits that are also primary drivers.
Okay, cool. So you got a SICK display. Everything here is electric. You're not showing anything that's not electric.
That's true. There's no diesel on the booth.
Right.
No diesel on the booth. Last year, we've been at CES for 3 years.
Okay.
Last year was a very heavy autonomy focus, and this year, because of the timing in our release of some of our electric machines, we thought it was the time to really showcase the fact that CAT's going electric.
Love to see it. So let's start with this one, the mini excavator.
Sure, yeah. So this pretty little thing is our 301.9 mini excavator.
What does the 0.9 mean?
So the diesel nomenclature for a lot of our machines have to do with the weight of the machine. So its diesel equivalent is a 301.8. Okay. So this is a 301.9, so we just changed the last number because it's slightly heavier and it's the electric version.
Interesting.
So if anyone's familiar with what a 301.8 looks like, it looks like just like this, except for some of the branding is a little bit different.
Right, it's the same basic shell, same basic chassis.
Same structures.
And similar to your F-150, it's like Ford took an F-150 and just slapped a battery in it. You took a 301.8. And then slapped a battery in it.
We took the diesel motor out, we took the fuel tank out, and we put motors and batteries.
Very cool. Well, show us what this thing can do, or tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so one of the things that we did as we developed this machine was we wanted to make sure that it had the same performance as the diesel model, the 301.8. So we actually have probably, compared to our competitors, the largest battery in the market in this size class. We have a 32 kilowatt hour battery.
Wow.
It is a 48 volt battery architecture. So
why such low voltage?
So low voltage, great question. So it has a lot to do with the safety of the voltage at that voltage range, as well as the cost of components. So as we look at our smaller machine lineup, they're certainly more cost sensitive So we had to look at that. Now, if we look at some of the other machines in our lineup, we're talking about 300 to 1,000 volts. And then as we get into the mining and some other areas, we're talking about, in some cases, 1,500 volts.
Wow. Okay. So a wide voltage range that you're going to be supporting across
Correct.
the entire product offering.
That's right.
So this thing's got 32 kilowatt hours.
Yep.
I would consider an electric car, when you talk about battery size and efficiency, range anxiety.
Yes.
This must be, like we were talking off camera, operational time anxiety.
That's right.
Do construction workers freak out like, oh, it's battery, I can only work for 45 minutes?
Well, with our diesel machines, a lot of times what our customers consider their working day, they always jokingly say, I work half days, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so a lot of times when they think about their diesels, and they think of the runtime for their diesels, it's I key the machine on at the beginning of the day, and then I key it off at the end of the day. And so this machine's got to run that long. But truthfully, with battery electric machines, you're not, unless it's very cold out, you're not expending very much, if any, energy off of these batteries unless the tracks or tires are turning, or the machine is actually doing some work.
Yeah, I guess, does it even have an HVAC system for heating and cooling? Okay.
Yeah, so our cab machines will, absolutely. But so our customers are saying they need to run 12 hours. We look at that diesel data that I told you with the 1.4 million connected assets and say, actually, Mr. Customer, this machine's really only doing work about 4 to 6 hours a day.
Okay.
And the rest of it is idle time.
Right.
And fuel burn and emission exposure and all that good stuff. So we've actually designed this machine so that depending on its application, it can work to that 4 to 6 hours and cover the majority of the needs of our customer.
Very nice. So how do you charge it?
Like you don't know. So 32 kilowatt hour battery, 48 volt again, and we've got a J1772 plug here for AC charging.
Yep.
Many of our customers, depending on the use of the machine, a low and slow overnight charger with a level 2 charger is going to be plenty, right?
Yeah,
so
or you'll just leave that thing on the hook through the night, 3 kilowatts. So why only 3 kilowatt onboard charger?
So that is because of space claim. It's real estate in the machine. So as we pull the engine and the fuel tanks out and we put the batteries in, the batteries consume a lot of space here under the operator's seat.
So I guess you had to choose range or charging.
Right. So we could have gone to a higher potential or multiple units modules that would have given us higher than 3 kW AC charging, but we would have had to sacrifice battery capacity to make that happen.
Right. But you have a solution to DC charge this?
We do. So if we come to the other side of the machine.
Okay, let's do it.
So we actually have, and if Alyssa comes over here, she might get a better shot of it. We actually have a DIN 320 connector that might be familiar to some of your viewers if they're familiar with electric fork trucks.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So because it's a 48 volt battery system, of course, we really can't use a CCS connector because it's 300 to 1,000 volts, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
So we have developed a MEC, which stands for Mobile Equipment Charger, 009. The 9 is the output rating, so 9 kW charger.
Okay.
Now, that charger will run off of 240 volt AC single phase, about a 40 amp draw. But we're not telling every customer that they need that DC charge. Like I said a minute ago, many customers will be able to get through their workday with a kind of low and slow overnight charge only. But if they find out that 4 to 6 hours of operational time is not enough, then we talk about opportunity charges. And we talk about the fact that, hey, you're going to take a 30 or a 60-minute lunch break. And even with that charger, if they've got an hour lunch break, they're going to put 3 hours of additional operational time on this machine.
Okay, very cool. So what is the peak discharge, I guess, that you could run out of this thing? It's got to be a few kilowatts for the motors. So how does that even work? You have a motor connected to an axle, which then drives the track?
Yes, we have electric motors that drive the tracks in the drivetrain, and we have an electric...
But the motors are not in the tracks then?
No.
Yeah.
And then we have electric motors that are actually driving the hydraulic pump. So that's one thing we didn't talk about yet, is that this machine is the same as its diesel counterpart from that hydraulic pump forward, other than that electric motor that's driving the hydraulic pump. Yeah, right. So if a customer's made a big investment in hammers and brooms and thumbs and buckets, all of that investment on that diesel side translates right over to this electric machine.
And I've heard a couple companies mention, okay, we're making electric adapted equipment so that you could have high voltage electrical stuff. Maybe as the EV world in this space goes, that could work. What's your impression of just running an electric motor to spin a hydraulic pump, or just doing a direct electric component?
Yeah, so we certainly, Caterpillar is always doing research and development, as you can imagine, and we're looking at those alternatives. We hear some of the competitive noise about that, and we're looking at those alternatives. And if we find that those alternatives will drive longer operational hours, it may be something that we consider. But right now, what we're more considered about is barriers to entry into this electric space for our customers. And so we're trying not to make them have to make this huge jump of, I need to pay for the machine, now I need to pay for a charger, now I need to pay for whatever else I may need to provide the power for that charger. And now on top of that, I've got to buy a whole new range of work
They'd
tools.
be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And so what is the cost difference from this? I mean, roughly.
So we can't talk about costs at these shows.
Right.
I can tell you that it is certainly more expensive than the diesel.
Yeah.
But we're looking at commercial options to help manage that cost and risk with our customers.
Okay. Is there, like, with an electric car, you spend more money, but you save on gas?
That's right.
Is there an equivalent to this?
Yeah, so we don't have enough, this machine we've had out in field follow, and we're just getting ready to deliver the first machines to select dealers in North America and the EU here in the first half of 24.
Oh, cool. So this is brand new then.
This is brand new.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are building them. It is in production, but we have yet to make deliveries.
Okay.
And so we're going to learn as those go out. And I would say really Caterpillar is in a learning stage right now. And we're trying to learn with our dealers and with our customers about what's working, what's not, what approaches do we need to change.
Feels like electric cars 10 years ago. It's
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
cool. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the charger. Let's show everyone. That's the MEC
009.
9. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so that means that you can only go up to 999. What if you want over a megawatt?
Yeah, so
okay, I guess baby steps first then.
baby steps, right. So this is, again, it's a 48 volt charger.
Yep.
This is the DIN 320 connector that, again, you saw it on the side, but electric fork trucks.
Yep.
It is basically specifically kind of matched to the 301.9. One of the things, right, that would really be nice from an industry standpoint is while we have a standard industry communication protocol through CCS and other means in the CCS range, in the 300 to 1000 volt range, it would be really great if we could all come together in the industry and come up with an industry standard communication protocol here. The reason I say that is because today, this charger will only work with that machine, and that machine
interesting.
will only work with this DC
Because
charger.
you had to tune the tuning and the
The communication, right.
Okay, that could be something we could focus on. Because I know some CCS chargers do work down to 100 volts, but I've never heard of one going down to 48.
I don't believe they do.
Yeah. So maybe we have the audience for it.
Yeah.
Let
If
us
they do,
know.
please let us know.
Yeah, shoot us a message. Connect with John on LinkedIn and be like, dude, we have this solution. Could be interesting.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm also looking at solar and a battery pack. What is all going on here?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. A lot of our customers that know us from the machine side of the business might not be as knowledgeable about what we can do on the power side of the business. And so what we're trying to show in the booth here is that, hey, if you're going to go electric in your machines, we actually have solutions from power generation, whether that would be renewables or whether that be diesel genset that could run on HVO, hydrogen blends, other alternative fuels in the future. We have those kind of solutions. We've been doing power generation for 95 years.
Sure.
So it's not something that's new to us, and we have an entire dealer channel that knows that. So a great story is that for those that haven't been before, last March in 2023, ConExpo, we had 12 solar panels connected to the next thing we're going to talk about, which I know your audience understands, an ESS unit. And that's a small one. It's only 60 kilowatt hours. But
I love
we
how
were
that's small. This is great.
we were charging that ESS unit with solar panels, and we were operating that 301.9 daily for like a week and a half in our machine demos, and it worked for that entire week and a half.
So you
on
powered the
only
whole thing
solar power.
on solar. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Now, it's not the fix for our larger machines, as you can imagine.
Dude, imagine this trying to charge it. We'd be like,
Yeah, here's just a taste.
Right,
Just a
exactly.
taste.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're really kind of talking about the fact for our customers is that we're not just handing you a machine and saying, you go figure the rest out. We have solutions. We have a dealer channel that can support you from power to ESS to chargers to the battery electric machines themselves.
Yeah, super cool. So this charges this.
It can,
And
yeah.
I know there's some people around, but let's at least, we can come around
Yeah,
to
let's
this
walk
side.
on this side.
This thing is, what did you say, 50 kilowatt hours or so, 60?
Yeah, so we call it the XES60.
Okay.
We say it's 60 kilowatt hours. It's about 58.6 or something.
And that's the gross capacity.
That is,
And
yeah.
is it NMC or LFP or?
So we aren't sharing that.
Oh, okay.
at
There's
this
some
stage.
secret sauce in
There's
here
some
that.
secret sauce. So,
Okay.
we don't develop our own cells, but we actually select different cell chemistries depending on the the use cycle and the application. So it depends on what C rates we need,
Okay.
what environments they're going to be in.
Yeah, so if it's a pretty light C rate, let's just say, and this thing just needs to be full charged and drained a ton, then LFP makes a lot of sense. But if you need a big discharge, maybe NMC?
So I'm guessing your viewers will probably get a sense of that. But again, I can't share it.
Sure, okay.
So,
Very interesting.
So this was actually originally designed to be paired with a generator or a genset, and it would give you primarily silent power, and then it would fire the generator only when the generator was needed.
Oh, like a hybrid generation.
That's right. So you have reduced operation of your genset when the generator is running to refill the ESS. It's running at its most optimal RPM, so you get your best fuel efficiency and your lowest emissions.
Okay.
But what we've been talking to people about with the 3019 in construction is, and you mentioned range anxiety, right? Range anxiety is real in construction. It's really operational time, but right after we talk about that and convince customers that there are solutions to that, the next question is, but I'm only going to be on this job site for a day or 2 days, and I have no power on this job site. So how am I?
Jobs, you're not like there for months. You're just like, let me just pop in, quick landscape job or something.
And even for a larger job that's longer term, they may have temp power just for the job site trailer, right? So it's not going to be enough energy for some of these larger machines. So what we kind of tell them is, to try to make it relatable, is you're already using portable diesel fuel tanks. Think of this guy, or even larger sizes, as a portable electric fuel tank.
Sure.
So you can charge this up where you have access to the grid or where you have solar or whatever your power source is, and you can transport it to where the machines are working.
Right, so I'm just thinking, let's say I say, okay, I got to do a project, I need it for 5 days, let's just say, this thing will ship fully charged, the mini excavator, that's 30 kilowatt hours in there. I can get 2 more full charges out of this. That gives me at least 3 to 5 days of runtime, I would think.
Depending on application, because if you had a slow day where you didn't use the machine as much, yeah, you could stretch that out. And as the machine is going to work on that third day, you could pull this back to the customer's yard where they keep their machines, where they have their utility connection, and recharge it and get it back to the site.
Right, absolutely. Love the idea. So what kind of power can we pull out of here then? So this is your input?
So this is a DC connector. So your input you can lug it into the bottom of the cabinet with an AC connection.
Okay.
There are connections in there for the solar. There's the generator connections here. You can actually even trickle charge this with a 120
No way.
extension cord. It would take a couple of days, but you could do it. But we've got some AC outputs and then a 1450 receptacle. Its outputs at 208.
Wow,
So this is not the charger for the machine. It's the energy source for the charger to charge the machine.
But you could just string these along, or do you have bigger ones as well?
We do have bigger ones. So this again is around a 60 kilowatt hour. We have a 120, and then we have some that go all the way in size to multiple megawatts.
Wow. Okay, so you have huge battery options then.
Correct.
Cool. We got so much to play around with. Okay, so this is all construction stuff. This is, I don't want to say baby stuff, but it's
Compared to what we're about to look at, it's baby stuff.
It's baby stuff. Okay, so I'm just looking at this. This is MEC 500, which must mean 500 kilowatts.
It does.
Okay,
yeah.
very
So
cool.
MEC is mobile equipment charger. 500 is the charging output. Just
This
as
is
you mentioned.
considered mobile. I love that. Okay.
Well, you can think about it as mobile equipment, or you can think about it as mobile. Either way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But this, a lot of people will say, so is that the generator or is that a battery pack? No, it is just a DC charger.
Yep.
So it's just doing AC to DC power conversion for us.
Yep.
AC doghouse is on this side. We
Okay.
need a 600 volt AC service if you're going to get 500 kW out of this.
And can you hook it up to 480?
So you can hook it up to 480, but you're not going to get the 500 output.
Okay,
So you're
so
going to get a
it'll be just-
reduced output.
So like 300 kilowatts or something.
300, 350.
Okay, but that's
Um,
plenty.
This guy was specifically designed to support the beautiful machine we're about to look at here in a second. And there's some really interesting things about it. So one is that we developed a proprietary connector that actually is passively air cooled. Okay, so the cable's relatively flexible.
Yeah.
And we can pass 700 amps through this passively air cooled cable and connector.
So this is a non-liquid cooled 700 amp continuous cable,
That's
and it's still easier to manipulate than the liquid cooled 500 amp ones we see in the public.
It's pretty flexible.
Yeah, okay, that's crazy. Did this material on the outside have something to do with it, or?
This is really just for protection.
Okay.
In the underground mining area, we've got a lot of rocks. It's a very rocky area, so you want
Yeah.
to protect this from any abrasions.
Okay.
And not put anybody at risk.
Okay, cool. And so this is obviously not powered on at the moment.
It's not powered on,
But this thing, basically, you could hook it up to a big battery if you wanted to, I guess.
Well, you could, if as long as that battery could could support the 600 volts.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
So,
cool.
but what we primarily see in the underground mining space is that those underground mines have utility or on-site generation that can support that power
Yep.
very easily.
Okay.
So it's not usually a challenge for our customers, and that from that standpoint. An interesting thing before we get to the R1700 is that we are in the process of releasing this charger by the end of this year with the CCS 1 and 2 connection.
Oh, very cool.
Now, as you and your listeners will, your viewers will know, that means we're not going to get 500 kW out of it.
Of course. Yeah.
But it is a really great fit for some of these on-highway trucks that I know you guys know
Yeah,
about.
yeah, we
that
do.
are charging at that 350 kW range.
Okay, cool. So maybe cat chargers coming to a rest stop near you or something like that. Could be interesting. Yeah.
Well, some of the machines we have under development that we've announced, the 950 GC medium wheel loader, the 320 medium excavator,
Yep.
are going to charge in this range as well. And so they'll have CCS 1 and 2 connectors on them, so they'll be compatible with this charger.
And CCS2 is actually heavily used in mining and in construction equipment in North America. So the connection profile gets crazy, but MCS is coming as well.
Yeah.
Are you involved with these conversations?
Yeah, so Caterpillar is part of CharN, and
Yep.
we've been in those discussions, and we're actually in process of testing some of the MCS connectors today.
Okay, very cool. Neato. So what's this thing that we're going to plug
All right,
into?
let's go. So this is the R1700 XE underground mining loader. And so
maybe.
this is a fully battery electric machine. It is not, there is no internal combustion engine on it.
Okay.
And it is designed to work in the underground mines and replace its diesel counterpart. It has a 715 volt, 213 kilowatt hour battery on it.
Which seems small.
Small,
Yeah.
right? It
yeah,
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
It's got a Hummer EV battery.
almost.
Yeah.
But again, keep in mind, right? We didn't really talk about it yet, but we can actually plug in 2 of those MEC 500s into the back of this machine, and we can charge this machine from 10% state of charge to 100% state of charge in 18 minutes flat.
Crazy. So that's actually pretty insane, because here you have a relatively production level size battery pack that can charge that fast. So what's stopping someone else from putting that in a truck? That would be cool.
So, and it's very different than, you know, our 301.9 size machine we talked
Yeah.
about, from the standpoint that because the pack size, there's no really AC charging option.
Yeah.
Because of the pack size, but also because of the duty cycle of these machines in the field.
Yeah.
So a lot of our underground miners are 24/7 operation.
Okay.
And so they don't have that overnight downtime that our construction customers might have.
Right. So if they already have a spot where they can top up and fill up occasionally, then why even put a bigger battery in here? That's less weight that they could haul with it and some other stuff.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with how much energy can we package on board and keep the balance of the machine. The balance of the machine is very important, right?
Okay.
So as we go into a pile and load this machine, the last thing we want to do is have the back end too light, and we end
Okay.
up with a balance issue. So you also got to, you know, how much energy can I package on board from a space claim standpoint, but also from a weight standpoint.
And is there a diesel equivalent to this?
There is a diesel, so the R1700 is the diesel equivalent.
Okay, and then the XE.
The XE for us is basically, it's usually our top of the line models that have the most features.
Okay.
Some people would say, you know, some customers might say it means extra efficient. Some of
okay.
our hybrids are labeled as XE as well.
Okay, very cool. But this is battery electric.
This is
completely.
battery electric only.
Okay, cool.
So, and you asked earlier about, you know, kind of why,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, while there are some minor benefits in ventilation, actually the pull from our underground mining group was really to support customer needs where they wanted to reduce emissions because they had corporate goals. But there is a benefit that I even learned about from some of our experts here this week, which is instead of just emissions or exhaust fumes and ventilation, it's really, there's a temperature rejection problem. So if they're running a diesel equivalent to this machine in an area, we're getting a lot of heat coming off of that diesel machine. And in a lot of cases, they might have to bring manpower in after they've worked into that space to do work on ventilation or other items in the mine. And if it was a diesel machine with a lot of heat rejection, they may have to wait 45 to 60 minutes before those people can come into that area and do their work.
Wow.
That time lost is productivity lost.
Okay.
So with the diesel or with the electric machine, we don't have that heat rejection, so we can
Yep.
get the machine out of the way, they can get in there, get their work done, and they can get this machine back to making money for them.
So is the mining industry the first to switch to electric or embrace electric out of all of the different industries that you work with?
Well, so this was our first battery electric machine that we introduced to the market.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, for us, it was.
Yeah.
We have made some public announcements where we have some early learner programs with various mines where we're kind of developing our our 793, our large mining trucks.
I think I had a chance to drive either that one or a similar one in a previous out of spec videos. And that was like a train. That was a diesel electric. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, but we have battery electric under development.
Hell yeah.
And at that point, the challenge will be they're going to have a fleet of trucks, and how do we charge that fleet of trucks?
Yeah, we're talking nothing small.
Nothing small.
One of this whole booth is one parking space.
Yeah,
for one of
you
those
can see
things.
the height of this machine.
Yeah.
Those large mining trucks are 2 to 3 times the height of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had to climb a ladder just to get up to drive
That's
the
right.
damn thing. That was at Goodyear's Proving Ground because they make the tires for it.
And Alyssa may have gotten a shot of in the cab. This is a single seat, but some of those large mining trucks have multiple seats in there. It's almost like having a small bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can regen so much on the way down.
That's correct.
Which is pretty crazy. So,
Yep.
and you got to tell me about these tires. I'm noticing a cutout right here. So these are non-pneumatic.
So yeah, that's my understanding. I just learned from one of our experts here that what do you guess that's for, Kyle?
I would think traction, but I have no idea.
No. We actually have lug version as well as the slicks, but that is to judge tread wear.
Oh, no way. So as it comes down, there you go. Then you know how much rubber you have left.
That's right.
Okay, makes sense. So you got to show us the DC connection on this thing. I know it's in the back you mentioned. And so here it is. We have the high power connections.
Yeah, so these are the 2 DC connectors. So you can see they kind of screw on there. And
Is that
again,
an industry standard or is this just something you created?
No, that's a great question. So it is not an industry standard. We created this as a proprietary connector because at the time that we developed this machine and the MEC 500, there was nothing in the market.
Yeah, and
in this
MCS
power
wasn't
range.
close to being
That's
ready,
correct.
and you needed, big power.
Right.
So makes sense. Cool. So this is crazy, and that's you got more actually because there's a motor and inverter over here.
Yeah,
Sorry
let's
to
talk
make
about
you
that.
keep going, but
That's okay.
There's so much that Cat is doing that I definitely want to cover.
Yeah, so what's really interesting about this is one of the things we're excited about at CES is we're just now communicating that we actually want to start partnering with third-party OEMs to offer our electric motors, our inverters, and even our batteries, and allow other OEMs to kind of get a jump up or a leg up on either going straight to an electrified product or going to a diesel electric hybrid. So these electric motors and these inverters, we have been manufacturing and designing for over 15 years, and we have 60 million hours accumulated on these technologies in the market.
So they are vetted.
They are vetted. They are tested and validated.
Are they induction motors or?
So there's a range of technologies that we use.
Okay.
And there's also a product line, basically sizes. So we use our electric motors in everything from as big as this and those large trucks you saw,
Yep.
to everything as small as our 301.9.
Wow. So you have a full electric powertrain offering.
That's right. So you could have, if you pictured it here, we had our battery pack, or if we had your diesel electric genset.
Yep.
That power would come off of it. It would be managed, conditioned, and controlled by this inverter
Yep.
to feed the power needs of this motor.
Right. Makes total sense. And can you show us that battery pack
course.
actually? So
Kind of our last stop.
yeah, yep, last stop. But these motors and everything, are there any? You're just communicating that you're willing to sell them, but who would purchase those?
So there's going to be some announcements coming out for some agreements that we've made with some people already in the
Okay.
near future.
Right.
But if someone was interested in that, and it could be anything from an electric mower
Yeah.
to even our medium-sized class machines.
Okay.
So what they would need to do if there was an interest is just reach out to their local Cat dealer and express the interest, and they would be directed internally to us at Caterpillar.
Very cool. So this is a battery pack.
This is.
How many kilowatt hours is what this is?
Okay, so I think, Tom, how many kilowatt hours is this guy here? 64.
Wow,
so
that's pretty
64
small.
kilowatt hours. So
Okay.
we actually are going to be offering this. So these are the packs that we see. In that 48 volt machine, the 48 volt version is about half as high.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
then this height is the 64 kilowatt hour pack that you would have in either 300 volt or 600 volt.
Oh, so you can wire parallel or series.
That's right.
Okay, makes
That's right.
sense. Yep.
But it's what we do is we purchase automotive cells to benefit from the volume, and then the real value that we bring to this pack is that we know the shock loads and the vibration and the moisture and the dust and everything that these packs are going to need to live in within our machines.
Yep.
So in some cases we have shock loads 5G and above that we have to deal with.
Dang.
So it's our own cooling system, it's our own packaging, our own battery management system, and then of course we talked about those connected assets. Our batteries are going to be our connected assets as well.
Yep.
Each battery pack has its own telematics device on it.
Oh, cool. No way. So you can monitor everything as it goes.
So we'll know if there's a problem before the customer will know if there's a problem.
This has been extremely eye-opening from my side. And, to the viewers, I know you guys have some proving grounds and some other stuff.
We do.
Might be worth coming to take a visit.
Yeah.
And checking out what Cat's up to. But it's been amazing having you as a resource to walk us through everything. A real EV enthusiast at Cat. Who would have ever thought?
Who would have guessed?
Yeah, pretty insane. I can't thank you guys enough for watching. Comment below if you like this stuff. If you want us to go to the proving grounds or even try some of this equipment, try the battery pack, let us know, because I think we can probably arrange some test units and stuff like that. So
that'd be great.
Can't thank you enough, John. That was
Thanks, Matt.
amazing. And we'll see all of you on another episode soon. Bye-bye.